You're listening to Housecast, the official Lowerhouse Cricket Club podcast. Shout out to our sponsors Spoonful of Sweets, Virtual Food Service, Milltown Pies and Rexel. Up the house.
Well, we'll just crack on, eh?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I've not done any prep for this.
No, well, we can just have a chat, can't we?
Well, I think so. I mean, I'm looking forward to. We haven't chatted for a few weeks, and
No.
it's interesting me about the side, how we're doing, and seems to be a little bit hit and miss. So let's have a good catch up, Joe.
Let's do it.
Right. Last weekend, I mean, right. Let's. It's funny, really. I know I put a little bit on the group watching. I can't watch England in the World Cup T20, but I can watch Lowerhouse at home. How's that work?
I mean, it's
Bizarre.
remarkable, isn't it?
It is. It's unbelievable. No buffering, nothing. It all went really. And I watched quite a lot actually because it was quite entertaining. And so talk me through the weekend's game because there was a lot going on there.
Yeah. Do you want the T20 as well?
Well, let's do the game on Sunday first.
Okay, we can do that.
I'm just looking for my glasses. Right. I've got the website up and the scorecard and everything. Joe Beneducci, 2 minutes. Right,
2 minutes.
so we win the toss.
Yeah, we win the toss. Bat.
Elect to bat, yeah.
How would you describe the day?
Hang on, Joe. Hang on. Welcome everyone to the Housecast. It's been only a couple of weeks, but we're gonna keep going and keep doing them. So anyway, we're halfway through the chat from the game on Sunday. So you win the toss, and Ben elects to bat.
Yeah.
What was the feeling? What was the ground? The pitch looked quite straw-coloured, which was amazing. So was it an easy decision to bat, or did you still think it could be dodgy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this will come as no surprise to you, Jess. I don't really look at the wickets.
No.
Because I just think we should bat first all the time.
Yeah, and not only do you not look at the wickets, you don't really care what you do, bat or bowl, or get involved at all, do you? You just sit on that big white fence that you have.
Well, certainly walking around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think it was pretty straightforward to bat first. The wicket looked good. It was true by all
How
accounts.
dry was it? How dry was it, Joe? The pitch and the outfield.
There was some good. I mean, the outfield was dry. I mean, it's not rock hard. It's still, the outfield is still pretty soft. Take a stud, as they would say. The
going was good to firm.
The going was good to firm, very much so. But the actual wicket had quite a lot of brass covering on it. I'd say it wasn't dusty or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which I guess is what you'd expect with the rain that we've had.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think historically, and Stan would say this, that our square is at its best when it's not dried out completely, and there's a little bit of life in it, a little bit of movement and pace. Once it gets dried out, it can get a bit dusty. But
and actually, Jez, we're moving forward a little bit here. But even in the last over of our innings, or the last 5 overs, there was still something in it for the bowlers. There was still movement and whatever you're looking for as a bowler.
Yeah, and it looked a nice day, bit of blue sky, decent crowd on, bit of sun.
It was windy though, Jez. It wasn't warm.
Oh, was it? Right.
I don't think it was warm, Dooch. Would you say that? It wasn't warm.
Awesome t-shirt to start with.
Yeah.
And then back for a hoodie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Have you got some new glasses there, Dooch?
No.
Or No, or have you been welding today?
Do you know, it's one of my favourite things in the podcast when Stan asked Shez if he got his glasses from Everest.
Yeah.
The double
So
glaze.
anyway, so it was. I think it's fair to say, Dooch, tonight. Welcome, Dooch. Welcome onto the
Thanks.
podcast.
Sorry I'm late, but it was not my fault.
No, this is all my fault. All my fault. Logistics.
Let's just talk through to the listeners what's occurred. We're umming and ahhing who to do a podcast this week. I'm a bit busy and away, and Dooch is always busy. Joe Martin just can't get organised, and there was only us three that were available. So we made the decision at probably 3:00ish that we were going to go tonight at 8:00, and we got the message through to dial in at 8:01.
I mean, I'm trying to keep the country running, Jez. So it was. This is all my fault. I'm fine to accept that. I'm fine to accept that. It's my fault. But I've been doing my service for the club, coaching.
Yeah.
Making sure that we've got a stream of players to come through once I've finished playing.
Right, good.
Jez, I've had countless messages this week saying, "Why are you recording a podcast just because you won at weekend? You're in charge of scheduling these podcasts? Yeah. Is there any coincidence that we only record in the week following a league win, or not?"
No, as far as that, you're right. There's only me can be asked to send out the availability and everything, and there is absolutely no truth in that whatsoever. In fact, I would rather have podcasts so I can quiz the likes of Joe Martin and any guests we get on when we get beat, because it frustrates me enormously that this talent that we've got and some of the results that have happened. So we'll fly through the win and we'll get straight onto the defeats.
Okay, good.
Oh, Jesus.
Right.
Just on scheduling of these, Jez, can I add? I think that you're the leader.
But no one's leading. I might lead you through the gate, but I turn round and when I'm in the middle of the field and there's no one else there.
Oh, that's fair.
So anyway, we've got the weather. The weather, it's a great day for cricket, bearing in mind what we've had over the last, month, 6 weeks. Short sleeve shirts and then maybe a hoodie as the day goes on. What a great performance for the top 4 all getting 50, in the first innings. And I know we had a bit of bants on WhatsApp. Have we established if there's any records been broken there, or I know there was a cup game, weren't there?
Yeah, I think Adam's pretty confident that that's never happened before, certainly for Lowerhouse.
Right.
Wider than that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean that's a great achievement, isn't it? I'm just looking there, and I'll come back to you, Joe Martin, in a minute with the the decision to bat first and how you approached it. But Ben 56 off 70, Frankie batted extremely well again. People batting round him 88 off 118. Tom Walker did a great job, accelerating it ever so slightly, and then the pro 87 off 51 and Henry, run a ball 12. So you were comfortable, Joe Martin. You mentioned about having a bat. The team in good spirits, bearing in mind the run of form. Were they looking forward to it and confident?
Yeah, very much so. As you say, we've not won every game at the start of the season, and we do expect to probably win every game, or we certainly want to. I don't know whether we expect to. But the atmosphere has been really good. Everybody's having a good time, I think, and it's just been that we haven't quite got over the line on some of these games, and we maybe not have played as well as we could have done. But no lack of trying. I think we just got to try and piece a few things together. I think consistency and where people are batting and so on. We've been trying a few different things to see what's working, what's going to work this year. So yeah, it's been an interesting start, but we've lost games at the start of seasons before, and we'll lose them again. I think in this league, it's a case of what kind of run you can put together, and how long you can keep it for. I think it's about consistency. So if we can start to put a run together, I think things are okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and the weather hasn't helped. I appreciate that. The prep for it, and again, as we pointed out to Johnny Whitehead when he thought we were the only ones playing in the wet, that it is the same for everyone. But I do think that we as a club, and it seems to have happened in the last 3, 4, 5 years, we do, tend to struggle at the start of the season, and then it's momentum which pushes us forward, which I'm not sure why, but it's good to see, a great score on the board, 325, massive score that, and because I know it wasn't baking hot, but it is difficult. We all know that we've been on the end of these types of scores. To go out and then compete against it is really difficult for Church. Did you have any concerns at the interval, Joe, that with their batting lineup or their pro, that there was because they had a decent opening stand, they had 100 opening stand. Were there any concerns at any stage?
I mean, I'm always concerned, but at the same time, when I was thinking about it, they needed something like 280 for a point. Yeah, it's a lot of runs. It's like massively above the average score. Yeah. So even to get a point. So I think it was in our favour. I think the wicket was pretty good, but quite placid. So we had to work really hard to bowl them out. Really. Yeah. So no, not concerned. And also I think at maximum they probably went at 5 and over at one point during the game. Yeah. After that, it fours and then slowed down quite a lot. So I think we were pretty comfortable.
Yeah, 183, all right. They had that really good stand at the start, but then 183, all right. As a spectator, Dooch, I know you were sat there. I think you were sat with Matt a bit, and you were probably a great game to watch. What were your view? Did you, even when we were 200 for 2, did you think Church would ever get in it?
No, I can give a slightly less politician answer than Joe. At half time, in my opinion, the game was won. I could not see Church getting anywhere near that, and the fact that they got 180 was only in part down to our captain being able to set as attacking fields as he wanted. It wasn't like at any stage we were ever thinking about containing runs. I think the margin of victory was probably worth way more than what the scorecard actually shows.
Yeah, and it is, we're not crucifying Church here. We've all been there. It's so difficult to lift yourself from that. You need a Michael Bevan 180 or two of your top 3 or 4 getting tons, and with 10 overs to go, you smash 120. So a great victory, and I mean, what a performance from the pro. I'll come back to you, Joe Martin. It's as a match-winning performance, 87 off 51, coming in, and when we got a good score, and then his bowling figures. I didn't see much of our bowling, to be fair, after the first 10 overs, but to finish with figures of 28 for 6 off 12 overs in a game like that, it's outstanding. Are you happy with the way he's playing now and his contribution?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's brilliant round the team, really positive, experienced, so willing to help everybody, not just the younger members of the team. So he's had a really positive impact, and it's really it is genuinely nice to play with him. He's just a
good.
nice chap.
Like you said, his experience, his league cricket's experience,
and he's a very, very good player. I was coaching this week, and some of the people I were coaching with who played in different leagues, Bolton League and Liverpool Comp and CLL and so on. They were saying how good a player he was.
Yeah.
When he played then, and it's still the same now. He's still a really excellent performer. And as I say, really positive impact on the team as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's probably, again, I know we reiterate this, and well, it's our podcast, so I don't care if we can blow our own trumpet. It's, the job that the cricket committee had in finding him with Matt Stanley and Dooch and others, it's all credit, congratulations to them and for getting him in at such short notice. So, so great work. So unless we've any more to discuss about Sunday, let's move on to the
I just wanted to mention his batting a bit more, Jez, if that's all right.
Of course you can, Dooch. You come on in and tell us.
I thought the way that he weighed up the situation at the back end of the innings, again, we're blowing our own trumpet here, but I thought it was superb. There was a short boundary to the leg side when batting towards the park. Obviously, a short boundary straight that way as well. What he seemed to do when he got into the last, say, 8 overs of the innings, he made sure that he faced 75% of the balls at that end.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really interested in taking massive risks at the other end. Happy to work it round when he was at that end, and happy to let the other lads who was batting with Tit have some of the strike at that end. But when he was batting towards the park, he made sure that he faced the vast majority of the balls and absolutely cashed in big time, which might sound very, very straightforward. And probably is to a professional, but the way that he quickly sort of weighed that up and decided that he could score twice as many runs at that end than he could from the other, and therefore that was where he was going to camp out at that end. I thought was spot on, really, and just exactly what you would want from a professional in that circumstances when he's been given the platform of a very, very good sort of first half of the innings. He cashed in and completely took that game away from the opposition.
And you say, you should expect it off a pro, but it's not easy. It's not when you're batting. You're batting with amateurs, and certainly when Henry came in early on, he's got to get himself sorted. And I know Tom batted very well with it. But we've seen it so many times where, good sides, fielding sides, stop the pro from getting on strike, and he just wouldn't let it. It just didn't allow it. And the way, I could see on the stream, the way he was using the crease and the way they were obviously trying to move the field around to accommodate it. But, you can't put any fielders in Lowerhouse Lane, can you, on number 27 when it kept landing on roof. It's a great knock. You're right, Duke. It does require a lot of credit, and he will carry on, like that when he takes games away from side. So all credit, and I believe we're going to try and we're going to get him on soon. Joe Martin is happy to come on.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We also Dooch and I had some lovely walks around the ground on Sunday as well. I thoroughly enjoyed them on reflection. It's nice to have a chat.
Oh, I'm pleased for you.
Because we do that, Jez, but you're away.
Yeah, we do it. Yeah,
international business.
I don't think the listeners want to know about it. Just we had a nice casual chat. They want to know gossip and what goes on in the dressing room. Who's had their head dunked in the sink and things like that.
I'm not sure, Jez. I'm sure they're very keen on us talking about what we're doing in the garden.
So Friday night, church away. Again, I didn't see any of this. Obviously, I've read the report. Church won the toss and decided to insert us.
Did they
What's
really?
your thoughts around
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Well, they did. I know you played in it, but yeah, that's what happened. What were your thoughts? Well, obviously, I can't ask you what your thoughts were around that because you didn't even know. The pitch, how was that? How did it look before it started?
I mean, it looked pretty good, but when you got close, we actually battered in the T20.
Right.
It was like Play-Doh.
Right. Okay.
So it was really soft, slow,
Right.
variable bounce.
It looked crap from the side.
Did
The,
it?
the way it played, I mean, I don't mean
Oh
visually
yeah,
the
yeah.
pitch. I mean,
Yeah.
the way it played.
I mean, it'd been very wet, hadn't it? So
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
a bit
it
of
was,
we had a great start. We got off to an absolute
Yeah.
lightning start. Johnny and the Pro. Then we had a bit of a, although Ben did back very well in the
Yeah,
middle
did.
of the innings, holding it together, but we didn't score as quickly. And then at the back end of the innings, we had a real injection to get us up to 120 odd. Keegan played very well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Henry played really well as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was a really good effort on a tough pitch. So those kind of teams, I mean, I think the highest score in the game was 20. So the guys who got teams, Ben and Henry and Keegs, did really well.
Yeah.
Did really well to get us up to
And it's
that.
Again,
important
not
Go on, dude.
sorry, Jez. Sorry,
No, go on.
I'm going to say again, not being smart after the event, but I was watching the game with Cottam Senior, and we both said when we were batting, if we get 100 on this pitch,
Yeah.
we'll have too many.
Yeah.
And when Keegan got us up to 120 odd, we were again at half time. We were supremely confident.
Yeah, and it's those sorts of games that cracky. Whether it's a dodgy pitch or whether it's a great bowling performance, and T20's a classic. If you only get 85, 90, then the opposition can either send in someone to try and smash it and get a quick 30, which takes the game away, or just graft away themselves and bat almost like a 50 over game. But once you get above 5.5 and over, I do think it, in difficult circumstances, it makes it very difficult. Certainly batting second, and again, we got 120. Joe Martin, by all accounts, made a fantastic one at the end in a 5 partnership with Keegan.
With Gansler. And it
Oh,
was
how
a
many
lovely little clip off my legs.
Yeah.
How many balls did you face that one?
I faced 2.
Yeah.
I missed a free hit. I think my run now is 8 free hits without hitting it.
So talk us through
I missed them
that.
all.
Just talk us through. Let's for the benefit of the listeners, a free hit, a no ball is bowled, and then the umpire signal that it's a free hit, and you're not out. You can do what you want apart from be run out. So just explain what happened. Your thought process, Joe, on the build up to the bowler running to bowl.
So quite interesting, really. So obviously bowler bowled an over waist high no ball to Charlie Gansler. He loved it, and it went for a 1. So that means I'm on strike. So they can change the field. If Charlie was on strike, they can't change the field. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
So they moved quite a lot of fielders onto the leg side.
Okay. Did that mess with
because you're a slogger?
What? Sorry. They know my game, so they know that I'm really keen on peppering that kind of mid-wicket area.
Yeah.
So did now apparently I don't know the rules. They only had 3 fielders on the offside, which isn't allowed in T20 cricket. But I didn't know that. So apparently, I missed the ball, trying to hit it for 6 or 4 or hit it. And apparently we should have had another ball, another free hit that no doubt I would have missed that one as well.
Yeah. So it didn't really matter.
But interestingly, I didn't know the rules, but when they put 3 fielders on that offside, I thought, oh, there's a lot of space there. So that's where I tried to hit it and missed it.
Right. Do you need to work at that, really, in case one day it is important?
Well, probably. But I mean, no.
Are we asking him to work on eating free hits or knowing the rules, Jez?
Well, it's a good point, that, Dooch. Possibly both. Because it is extremely important, towards the end of a game.
Did either of you know that rule? I didn't know it.
Of course we did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
It's basic, George.
You didn't even play T20s, Jez.
We were T40s when I was a lad. And we used to have football tops with numbers on back. So anyway, we're 120. A great, like we've all said, a good innings to get to that score. And then, please, Joe, I mean, again, I think it's potentially history making. Tell us about their start and how you felt. The 3 wickets for 5 runs at one stage.
Yeah.
Had they give up? Were they out of it? Was it a bit of a non-starter?
So, I mean, it wasn't an easy pitch to bat on, as we've established. But Tom Walker took a wicket in his first over, like a slower ball cutter, and it went miles. It was a great ball. So they were 1 down for not so many. Then there was a calamitous run out with their pro, who hit one over Keegs at mid-on, ran, went to come back for 2. His non-striker didn't move and said no. Keegan threw it in, and he would run out at the non-striker's end without sliding his bat or anything. So I think that makes it immediately more difficult when your pro's out chasing that kind of score on that tricky wicket, because you only need your pro to get 40 not out or 50 not out, and you're probably going to get over the line. And then after that, it was just I don't think we were pretty constant taking wickets, and then Charlie Gansler took 4 in an over in 4 in a row. I've never seen it before. Just bowl really well.
Talk us through that, Joe. We don't need to go through the whole innings. It probably gets a bit boring for people to listen to. They're out of the game. Charlie's come on as a third change. He's the 5th bowler, and his figures are 1 over, no maidens, 1 run for 4 wickets. So obviously you've got the best seat in the house where you are watching it. He's obviously a great cricketer and good prospect. He's had a few injuries this year, so he's not really maybe performed. Just talk us through that over.
So one of the first 2 balls went for a single, I think.
Yeah.
Or it might be. I don't think it was a wide. I think it was a single. And then I think his second ball was like a full toss, thigh high full toss that the batter swiped at, and Charlie took a brilliant diving caught and bowled to his left, covered quite a lot of ground to take it. So that was the first wicket.
Yeah.
The second wicket was a clean bowled Yorker that just cleaned the batter up, and then for the hat trick, it was an LBW. That when I was wicket keeping, it seemed like the umpire took a really long time to make the decision. But when I've looked back on the video, it seems like it was quite quick. So I don't know, but it was pretty straight, and the ball wasn't bouncing particularly high, I don't think so.
And that was the hat trick, what? Yeah, that was the hat trick, wasn't it? The LB, yeah. So yeah.
I've only ever been involved in 1 hat trick before that, I think, and that was in the second team with Mickey Lee. But I know that Jez has taken a couple of hat tricks, I think. 3 hat tricks.
A hat trick of hat tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is remarkable, Jez. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
Do you still have the match balls, Jez?
Yeah, I do actually, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. All right, well, you need to get those out.
There's only 1 of them mounted. The other 2 are just balls. But that's history, isn't it? That's gone.
Oh, well, fantastic, Jez.
But I couldn't remember 4 being taken.
No, I couldn't.
Where do you stand? Where do both of you stand on this ridiculous Australian terminology of calling 4 wickets in 4 balls a double hat trick?
Well, it's not, is it? Can't be.
Yeah, but I'll tell you the thought process behind it. They do call a four wickets in 4 balls a double hat trick in Australia, and they say that it's a double hat trick because the first hat trick is balls 1, 2, and 3, and the second hat trick is 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, so you can see there is a little bit of sense in that.
There isn't.
I'll tell you what, I wish Gary Morehouse were on this podcast. He would know all about that.
Particularly the double hat trick bit. He'd definitely know about that.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
We'll see if we can contact him mentally and get him to join soon.
Yeah. See what if he thinks that's the right. I mean, when you think about it logically, you possibly could think that it is that way, but it'd be good to get Gary's view on it.
All right, guys.
All right,
evening, man. How are you doing? My ears were burning.
Really, comedy gold. That's what we call it. Comedy gold. How's it going, Gaz? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, good. Not bad.
Good
Like
lad.
my old man
Good
used
lad.
to say, get there in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to put you on the spot. Where do you stand with 4 wickets in 4 balls being called a double hat trick?
4 in 4, double hat trick. Oh, of course. Right, okay, I get where you're coming from. You can't decide, you can't not argue. You can't
I don't think
say
you can,
no to that, can you?
No.
Because if you didn't get the first one, the second one would still be hat trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Good call.
Yeah.
We might have to bow to our Australian friends on this one.
I mean, it's probably a bowler that's made up the rules, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. I would imagine Joe Martin won't have it at all because Joe's thinking, and he's quite naive and a lot younger than us, that a double hat trick is 6 wickets in 6 balls, but it clearly isn't because that would be 1, 2, 3.
4 hat tricks, huh?
It's a bit like George Beneducci working out his Yankee. How many bets he's got?
Is that like Iggy saying, not out, improves your average?
Yeah, improves your average, yeah. Oh, brilliant to have you on, Gaz. We've just gone through the game on Sunday, which, was, a great effort, a good score, how well the pro did. And we're just working through we're just at the end of the T20 when Charlie Gansler got his 4 wickets in 4 balls. Have you had much chance to watch any of it on the stream?
I watched some of the weekend. I didn't see. I saw the 4 in 4 clip that ended up on socials.
Yeah,
but I didn't see any of that game streaming. I mean, pod when we're winning, isn't it? So looks like we're going to pod about once every 4 weeks at the moment.
We've already had that discussion as well. I got accused of it was my fault for only arranging podcasts when we win, but I've told Joe Martin it's a load of bollocks. I'd rather have a podcast when we lose and find out. It's easy to gloat, isn't it? But some of the performances they need grilling. So we're going to move on back into the league. Joe Martin, we're lying 9th. It's all tight. It's early on. But there is a gap between the top 2 really and the rest of the clubs. Is there any plans? What's your thoughts as players to shorten that gap? What's the skipper and the pro and the rest of the team going to do about shortening that gap?
Well, we'll have to win some of the games.
You're sounding more like your uncle.
Yeah, I mean, it's June. It doesn't feel like June, does it? But it's June. There's still a lot of cricket left to play, and what's the difference between us and top of the league? 30 points.
Yeah.
So, it might seem like a lot, but it's 3 games. Everybody's got to play each other again, and so I can't see the league table being the same as it is now at the end of the season. So there's loads of cricket to play. We, as I've said at the start, we're trying to find the right kind of combinations. When people are, getting what we consider our best team out and so on. So we'll just keep going. We're working hard at training, and we'll just keep trying to find the right kind of run and to keep and to stay positive. I mean, Christ, it's how many games have we played? 6.
Yeah, Crikey's better.
What is?
Crikey.
It's better than crack. He's already thrown a Jesus in as well on this.
I know, yes,
He's very blasphemous.
I don't know what his father Brian's going to think.
I'm really sorry. But yeah, we'll see where we get. I mean,
yeah, and I think Joe as well. We can, all of us, coming down to watch you train and to watch the effort that goes in and the preparation. It's all there. It is such a tight. It's a tight league. Each year you can see it getting not necessarily tougher, as in the quality of the players. I think the quality is fantastic, but it's a side that comes in from League Two. They're all struggling, and it's you've got to maintain that consistency and your good players getting good scores and winning matches.
But what I will say is, Jez, sorry.
Yeah.
What I will say about the league, yes, I think I agree. I completely agree with you, and that the quality of the league is really high. But when we first looked at expanding the league, I did say at the time that one of the impacts of doing this will mean that clubs want to stay in the top division, which is fair.
Yeah.
But what that also means is that clubs are less likely to take a chance on their juniors because they want to stay in the league. So rather than having a transition year where you might finish 10th, 12th, I don't know, even lower maybe, in the old league, to try and blood your youngsters through, I think some clubs potentially think that we can't afford to do that now. So I wonder whether you'll start to see more kind of churn in clubs and whether that's there. So the standard of the league will keep increasing, but whether you'll see a continued nucleus of homegrown players within clubs might be something to look out for.
So that means you're alluding that we're attracting players from other leagues and that's stunting the growth of the juniors within the league coming through. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I don't know whether it's true, but I think that it might be something that we start to see.
Are you saying if somebody finds themselves a third way through the season, sort of third or fourth from bottom, that they're just going to try and stick with tried and test experienced players rather than put those youngsters through, as opposed to attracting people at the start of the season from other leagues, like Jez was saying? But are you just saying that those guys won't get a chance?
I think it's a mixture of those two things, guys. Actually, so I think the point that you've made is fair. So are we going to try and stay in the league, and by doing that, picking? It was like an old thing in the Premier League, wasn't it, where you'd sign some really experienced 30-year-olds to try and stay in the Premier League for as long as you could for the season, and then go from there. So I think it's a mixture. I think it's a mix of those two things. So if you finding that we're lower down, are you going to say, okay, well, let's give these guys who've been in the second team a chance, or stick with where we're at, or at the start of the season, okay, we've got these youngsters who are a bit rough and ready in the second team. We don't think that they'll kind of keep us in the league, so what we'll do is we'll bring some more players in. and do it from there. I think yours.
It wouldn't be good overall, would it? If it was that, I mean, the two division thing. Obviously, it's got to the point that they were set out to do, where it was to make the top, the overall strength of the league more competitive, better than just the same two clubs sort of running away with it for 5 or 6 years on the trot. But then it can go too far, I guess, is what you're saying. The second division, like Jez was saying, they come up and go straight back down, a bit like Premier League football in some respect. And that gap is too wide then.
Possibly, yeah. I think that might be an unintended consequence of it. But there's some really strong teams in the second division. And you look at the first division last year as well. The top six were all pretty close together. It's just whether you, as we've seen in the Premier League, whether you start to see those trends, as you say, Gaz, as we move, as the two division structure matures. It'll be interesting.
I mean, it is like you say, it is back in our day, as they say. The thought of Ramsbottom, Aslington, your Bacup, Nelson, whatever, being relegated. I don't know, okay, different structure and all that sort of, but being down there and being, in struggling, as it were. And then struggling, I think Aslington might have come straight back up. They might have spent 2 seasons down, but yeah, it's can't take it for granted anymore, can you?
No, and even maybe even to come back up, you then sign some players from outside your club as well. I don't know. It was just a thought that I had this week.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting point, Joe, and it's probably something we could talk a lot more about. It'd be interesting getting views from other people. A counter argument to that could be that, I won't name any clubs or anything, but clubs that are generally well established get relegated, in a close fought battle between the bottom 4, and then go in the second division and then play all the youngsters.
Yeah, of course.
Because I know what you're saying. Yeah. There are some good sides in that second division, but it is, I think the gap is getting quite a bit bigger between, on average, say an average player and average. So then play, the juniors you've got from, 15, 16, 17, 18, let them have a good season. And if they don't get promoted the first year, have another good season, then you've got all the juniors there. It's how clubs are run, I suppose, isn't it, Joe? Yeah. And it really is. I do have the odd concern that there's some of the clubs in the second division are really resigned to the fact that they're never going to compete with the Burnleys and Darwin, and we're happy playing in the second division now. And this is going to be controversial, that's what I'm going to say, but are they turning more into social clubs and not cricket clubs? A little bit like Lowerhouse in the 60s, 70s, and maybe early 80s. I don't know. We could talk about that for a while. Dooch, what's your thoughts?
Well, if they are, Jez, and that's the natural order of things, is it better for those clubs who you won't name to be in a league with other clubs of a similar stature and competing every week, or is it better for them to be in a league with serious cricket clubs who are not, social clubs, who are serious cricket clubs, and absolutely tubbing them every week? What I think the split has found clubs have found their level within that split, and yeah, you might be right. Some of the clubs might be happy where they are, but not all of them will be. There'll be some clubs that are scrapping to try and get back up, and they'll be the ones that are probably towards the top end of that division. I think the splits work really well, and it's no different in a way to Premier League football or the pyramid there. Clubs are going to slip down and work really hard to get back up if that's where they see themselves going. But not all of them will. You're right. Yeah,
and it is a shame if but that's down to the individual clubs to make sure that doesn't happen, Joe.
Yeah, definitely.
They've got to. But I mean, Gary, going back, and it's only just really dawned on me. I love playing all the time. I had no issues. But I've got to say, there were some seasons where we had 10 games to go, and we knew we were in the same side, and we're in the bottom three. We're almost rock bottom, and we knew that we were not going to get out of that bottom 2 or 3. I think in hindsight, if there would have been 2 divisions, I'd rather have been 4th or 5th in the 2nd division, really pushing to try and get promoted. Can you remember those days when we were absolute rock bottom, and how you felt?
Thanks, Jez. I had just got over my counselling and work sort of 30, 40 years on, but just set me back. No, you spot on, mate. And when you're in it at the time, it's like the world's going to end and all that sort of thing. You look back, you think how much we're really enjoying it. And getting back to the social side, not the social side, but getting back to the bigger thing of the cricket club per se, rather than the match performances. We always said we love playing at Lowerhouse, we won't go anywhere else. But you look how it's panned out now with those 2 divisions, and there's a lot to be said for it. I think you've got to have the right makeup of the club to accept where you are and the reality of it, and put something in place. And if it comes in 1 year or 2 years, great. But is that sustainable? So you're better off setting your stall out for something that can last 4, 5, 6 years, and you get established, and you're bringing those kids through. And I think there's not really a good argument for it going back to 1 division or those times, as glorious and as halcyon as days as we might think they were and things. Yeah, I think back in the day, did it do anybody any good? We didn't have kids coming through, did we? In a structured, no. We had a group of rugrats that came together all at the same time that were the genesis of something then that allowed us to sort of develop, and then obviously Stan's empire. But yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, it's a really good debate, and if any listeners want to come on and just talk through that side of it, if people are interested in about the history and how it's been changed, and they've got strong views, then contact us on Twitter, and we'll get you on. Great discussions, Gaz. And Gaz, you weren't the only captain that finished in the bottom 2 or 3. I can assure you there was a lot more. It was only when Dooch and these rugrats came through that it all started improving. So let's go back to the league, Joe Martin. Todd away, a complete non-starter, rained out game. We battered 116, and then it just rained, I believe, did it? Did you? I think you tried to get back on a couple of times, is that right?
No.
Right, okay.
It was it rained at the start, so I think we lost a few overs, so it wasn't a 50 over game. It rained, and then we batted 28 overs, I think.
Yeah.
And then the heavens opened, and there was a thunderstorm and the lightning and all sorts, and the flooding, and we know that you can't really stay in Todd when it's that kind of rain. From previous, because don't you were stranded there, weren't you?
1 year, yeah, we did get stranded there, yeah.
So yeah, we batted pretty well.
Johnny got 60 odd in 60
batted
odd.
Superbly well.
Yeah, smashed it.
Really good.
No,
really good.
So there was nothing doing in there, and we'll go to the cup game separately if we just keep going through the last few league games. So before the Todd away rained off game, Burnley at home, Joe Martin. I know I keep coming back to you and I keep asking you for explanations, but that's the way it is. What happened there?
It was the kind of they probably got 50 more than what they should have done, but they batted pretty well.
Yeah.
And then we talked afterwards, and it's about building partnerships at the right time, and we lost wickets at important points, and probably didn't quite get our plans working and as we would like, and we didn't kind of work towards those objectives and execute as we wanted to. So it was a disappointing performance. I was furious for a week. Not on the team, but you look at your own you look at your own performance to try and work out where you can get better, and what you can do. So it was one of those games where we didn't quite get it right, and it happens. It happens. A shame it was against Burnley, but it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like you said, if they've got 52 many and we haven't battered very well, can you see that on that screen or not? Is it all blurred?
I think you blurred your background,
blurred.
Jez.
Too blurred.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, now, yeah, we can see it now, yeah.
Just putting that out there. So,
12 points.
Yeah, 12 points to Burnley and fully deserved. You know, I don't think you've any qualms, and you've accepted that's
I think
Darwin away.
I think the one thing from that Burnley game is that Paddy bowled really well.
Yeah, that was something I was going to mention from the weekend's game.
Bowled fantastically well.
Don't give tactics away, please, Joe, because I know you can be quite naive in that way.
I don't know them.
He seems to be doing a good job opening up and in a positive way, because sometimes you can, certainly with off spinners, the right arm off spinners, you can get rid of 5 or 10 overs early on just to get rid of overs and you know and set the field accordingly. But he seems to be bowling quite positive. He's a great player. He is a great player. Is this a new tactic?
I think he's done it before. I think he's done it before. This will come to no surprise from anybody on this call or people listening. I don't really know what the thinking is behind it. You know, leave them to it. But it seems to be working for the minute. So, and you know, putting a bowler on, it's still about them getting it in the right areas, and you know, whether they bowl medium pace or leg spin or you know left arm, like you know whatever they bowl. It's still about the bowler executing properly and bowling to their plans. So he's bowled really well.
I've only seen obviously streams of home games in the main. I think was it Clitheroe maybe. Anyway, but just to add to that, he's bowling a lot from the park end as well, which, as Jez knows, is a thankless task. You know, obviously, Pro's going to take the other end, especially if you're lower on the square, but he's going to probably take it anyway. It just adds to that feeling that you guys have got that he's on it at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you guys know bowling at the park end, that I think early on, it's very much kind of if a batter wants to try and take it on, then fair enough. You know, we know it's it's not the longest boundary in the world, but there's been many a good player caught on that park boundary. Even though it's not, you know, how far is it? Probably 60 meters, if that.
I don't think it's
way less.
Less.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
40, 50, something like that. So it's not a massive hit, but if you want to try and take it on, then fair enough. But
and I think he's matured as well, Joe. And I know he's not a spring chicken now, but you watch him bowl. He's so confident in his own ability and the fields that he sets. You know, with Ben, it really is. It's good to see. Again, not giving tactics away, but you know, I'm sure there's a lot more things up Ben's sleeve that he could use around. But that does look quite important at the moment. So Darwin away, we get beat by 6 wickets. Again, poor performance. What's your summary of that?
I think, in my opinion, it wasn't a great performance, but the trend of the game is something that's happened at Darwin for quite a few years, where we get off to a blistering start, really good positive start, and then suddenly there's a change, and we probably don't quite get to where we should go. I think in the times that we played them, I can only think of twice where we've probably posted a score that we are happy with. One was with
Yeah.
Ruan Pretorius when he got 95, and another
Yeah.
one was quite a few years ago, probably 20. I want to say 2018,
Yeah.
2019, where
Yeah.
Francois and Blaise got some runs.
I see what you mean there,
Brilliant.
because 119 for 3, and then 128 for 8. So it's a big, and there's the great players in the middle there, middle of in our middle order. But I just wonder if that's a tactic that they use. Once they get 2 or 3 wickets, they think that they can start, pushing us. But 163 for 9. I mean, again, the conditions can't have been great. A lot of water about. But they appear to have strolled it, Joe, really, with 8
They
or 9
weren't
overs to
really
spare.
under any pressure.
No.
Really.
No.
And yeah, I think it's just one of those things that we need to that we probably need to learn from a bit. I think is what probably a bit clearer in what we're trying to in what we need to do against specific teams. So let's see where we go. But yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the Worsley Cup shortly. Dooch, have you anything to mention about the Darwin game or the other league games, or and then I'll come on to Gary after you, Dooch.
Darwin, just a horrendous batting collapse. I mean, I don't really think you can legislate for a batting collapse like that. What did we lose? Six wickets for 12, something like that. Yeah. From a solid position when Henry and the Pro were batting together, we just completely fell off a cliff, which happens from time to time. But I don't think you can really read too much into things like that, because it's not really symptomatic of how we play. So just a bad day at Blackrock, unfortunately.
And you're not going to come back against sides of the quality of Darwin. They will, once they've got your foot on your throat. That's it. They're in. I know we didn't play against Darwin. They weren't in the league when we were playing, Gary, but they're clearly an established, decent side. Have you any views or thoughts around that game and the other games in the league this year?
Well, just Darwin generally don't lose many at home ever.
No.
It seems somebody might put the stats together and prove me wrong, but you just don't get the feeling that they're difficult to beat, and they've won the league themselves. They've got good players knocking around the club, a good structure. So yeah, again, going back to what we said earlier about having these clubs around now that make every single game difficult. It's all right saying we played Burnley, we played Darwin, we played Clitheroe, like they're 3 top sides. Well, actually, you've got another 3 top sides coming along soon as well. So and it is hard to swallow. Last one we were on, and we were talking about the quality of the side. It looks a good makeup, looks balanced. Still believe that. I'm not around and I'm not watching games, obviously in real time in present, but it still feels like that's a good side, a good makeup side, and I think you shouldn't panic. Stick with it. And, Ben's obviously an experienced captain. I'm sure he's working closely with Pro and the other senior players who've played a lot of cricket. Just don't panic, I guess.
Yeah, it's so true, and hopefully, I think we will improve as the summer goes on in the respect of the wickets getting better, proper cricket side. So yeah, we all know that they're grafting their nuts off. So great work, Joe Martin. Back to you for we got a bye in the Worsley Cup first round.
Well.
Yeah, played very well. I think you hit a free hit, didn't you?
No, still missed it.
You still missed it in your dreams. So then we got drawn Rottenstall away. Yeah, I think we've all a lot of fond memories at Rottenstall, but they are one of the clubs maybe that we were talking about that are now settled in that second division and are not looking likely to come back up in the near future. But fingers crossed that they can get the structure back and get the young lads there. Again, a soft spot because Dean's gone over there, a great lad, a great servant for Lowerhouse. Do you want to talk us through that, please, Joe? I know it was an absolute mauling, and we're not here to gloat or anything, but a great performance, a good ton from the Pro. How did that game go?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we played very well. We batted well. Pro batted extremely well.
Yeah.
And I think Francois got some runs as well. So
Yeah, 58. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, people batted really well, and didn't really give the wickets away, and made sure we got a score that because you can pretty much chase anything on Rottenstall, can't you? Actually,
Yeah.
Wickets are usually pretty good, and we know it's short, square. So yeah, we batted really well, posted a very competitive total, and then bowled really well. Hawkey bowled brilliantly. Kind of just took out their top order.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was.
I don't know if you were aware of this, Joe, but whilst Joe was getting the wickets that he was getting some frightful stick from some of the Rottenstall regulars.
Oh, really?
Mm.
All right. Oh, dear.
They were
Good
very
banter.
vocal.
Good banter, sure.
Not very imaginative, no. They just calling him Baldy repeatedly, shouting at him from the balcony. Give us a wave, Baldy. That's that sort of stuff. I mean, he's a Rottenstall lad, isn't he? So I think that's probably that's probably the cause of that. But yeah, he was getting some real stick. But to his credit, he bowled incredibly well and did give him a few salutes when he got a wicket or two.
Oh, good lad.
That reminds.
Go on, Gary.
It just reminds me of a tale again back involved Mr. Eaton, and I don't know if you can remember it at Rishton Jez, and I think it were we were getting run around from somebody. I don't know whether it were Simmons or Sleepy or somebody, and baking hot day, and the sponsors were on the balcony, and they were on it large, and Stan were obviously feeling like third man low late underneath fault, and he was getting distracted. Ball comes to him, he goes straight through his legs, and 4 runs, and right under sponsors who are lathered up. And one of them, Gobshite, is saying, you should have shut your legs like, and he just turns around and said, "So should your mother." And it could have gone one or two ways. They could have all come downstairs and had a go, but actually the rest of them would just rip the marker light to the lad who mouthed up and just give him shit for rest of the day. But yeah, it were funny moment.
Brilliant. There has been, when you think, we could have a full episode on the banters from the balconies, and I'm glad that it didn't get nasty at Rottenstall, Joe. If they were just numpties, they didn't have any humour, but it all used to be humour and taking in good spirits. I think some of it's gone a little bit awry just recently, but don't know, crikey, great memories there with that Gaz. So Hawkey finished with, I didn't realise his figures were that good, Joe. 7 overs, 10 runs, 5 wickets. It's exceptional.
Oh, brilliant.
Bit of bowling. Yes, swinging it, seaming it, or a bit of pace, or a bit of everything.
A bit of everything, really. Bit of swing in the air, seam movement. Got their pro out with a really, really excellent ball. That kind of swung in and then moved away and caught top of his bat for Salpy to catch.
Brilliant.
It was a good. Yeah, he bowled extremely well. He's bowled really well this year. He's bowled really well.
Yeah, he's another one.
Do we fancy ourselves a bit this year with that bowling lineup then, and split on overs in Worsley Cup? Is that an obvious strength?
Yeah, I think so. We've been a pretty consistent cup team for the past, well, I don't know, since 2018 maybe. Before that as well, because we got to the Lancs Cup as well, final. So we've been really consistent in the cup, except for probably one, I think, when we got beat by Rochdale in the pouring rain. So yeah, I think so. There are some very good teams left in the cup as well. So
yeah,
cup games can go either way, really. I think.
Yeah. So it's worth mentioning.
But you are right, guys. I think it's a good bowling attack.
So it's worth mentioning for everyone to get in the diaries. The quarterfinal's been drawn with Ramsbottom away on the 15th of June. So if we can get as many spectators down there, maybe get a steam engine trip up and running again to get on that to get over to Rammy. Can I just last point from me, really, and I'll come to Dooch and to Gaz. But Joe, Tom Walker appears to have come on, for the benefit of those we want to wear. Tom left for pastures new in Australia, with the best of wishes from the club. A great player before he went, but he's come back and he seems a different player as far as his batting goes. Have you noticed that, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that we signed him, 2 or 3 years ago was that he bowled fast. He offered something different with the ball, and great fielder and a very, very good batter as well. Really busy at the wicket, and adds a little bit of pace in that middle order for us when he's batting. He's only a young lad as well. I can say that because I'm 30, so that's fine. So he seems to have kept his abilities that he had before, but has become even more consistent now, which is half the battle. So he's a welcome addition, and he's a good lad as well. He's a nice lad.
But he hits it hard, doesn't he? Now he's
very hard, good between the wickets, really positive. He's worked with the pro in the nets on a few technical things as well that seem to have helped. So
yeah,
it's been really good. It's been really good to have him around the team again.
Yeah. I've just noticed there, or does anyone else know this? He was 21 on Saturday.
Well, I knew, but we wished him happy birthday.
And that was it.
I don't know. Could have jumped out of a cake, I guess.
You should have had a big party for him.
Well, I think he did have one, but because he's in Australia, I think it was a family one because they haven't seen him for a while, and we get to see him every week.
Right. Okay. Right.
You seem disappointed with that, Jez. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Nowadays, if someone had had a 21st in the middle of the season at a weekend, well, we'd still be in the club now.
I know, but you'd have been in bottom half at second division with other social clubs, wouldn't you?
That's right. All doing daft games of fighting and drinking games and all that sort of
Run
stuff.
the gauntlet.
£1,000 bar in 90s. Oh, Joe, were worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, Jack Hayes and Jerry Green Cardigan loved it.
Small beer there. That's done by about 4 o'clock now these days.
It is on 3 tables. So we'll bring it to a conclusion very shortly. I'll just go round the room, as they say. Dooch, thanks very much for dialing in at late notice, and I apologise for the late call and getting the actual link through. Anything to add before we finish up, Dooch?
No, I don't think so. I'm glad you mentioned the Where's the Cup. Looking forward to that, and obviously the games before that. But just one point on the Where's the Cup. We've never ever beat Ramsbottom in a Where's the Cup game.
Cracker, that's a good fact, that, Dooch.
What was the first time?
I think we played them 5 or 6 times in the Where's the Cup in the club's history, and we have never beat them. One very recently as well.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, it hurts a little bit, that one. But the lads will
hopefully.
they'll be up for it, won't they? And they'll certainly give it everything they've got, and they'll work the nuts off prior to it to get the best out of themselves. Gary, before we go to Joe Martin to close the show, anything from you? Thanks for joining us, all those hundreds of miles away. We really appreciate it.
No problem, Jez. No, nothing to add from me. Thanks. Let's hope we're talking about another win next week.
Great stuff. Middleton away. It is on Saturday. Is this fixture? So I'm sure there's a few charabangs on the way, and getting some good support over there for us for that league game at Middleton. Joe Martin, let's finish with you before I close the show. Any closing points?
Do we need to do a draw, Jez?
We do, really, yeah. You know I'm away. We can do it if you want, but
You don't have any of the details.
I do. I have my iPad and it's all on there. It's
I
20
thought
past
it was all
10.
handwritten.
It's 20 past 10 here for me, but we can. Do we want to do it?
No, we'll do it next week, Jez.
Yeah, let's have another one next week, and I can be ready, and we can get. I don't think I've sent all the monies out for the last one, but good idea to bring it up. Anyone who wants to join the draw, we have got another 2 new members since the last podcast and the last draw. Please, in fact, this could be a good plug. Send us a message over the next 3 or 4 days, and you'll be in the next draw, which we'll do next week.
Who are the new members, Jez? Can we name check them?
Not yet. No. Fucking hell, Dukes.
Oh,
Why is everyone putting me on the spot here? No, we can't yet. We'll do it to the next one. Joe Martin, anything else to add?
No. It's lovely to see everybody.
Yeah, lovely to see you 3. Thanks everyone for joining. Don't forget to like, follow, all the rest of the stuff, and tell your mates about the Housecast and come along and support the boys. Thanks everyone, and goodbye.
Gordon, send more house to save the house.